Polar bear. It is the largest land predator on Earth, and the Arctic is the only place it truly calls home. Polar bears are built for extreme cold in ways that go far beyond thick fur. Their skin is actually black underneath, which helps absorb heat from the sun, and each strand of their fur is hollow, trapping warmth close to the body. They spend much of their lives on sea ice, hunting ringed seals by waiting patiently near breathing holes in the ice. A polar bear can smell a seal from nearly a kilometer away and through several feet of snow. They are strong swimmers too, capable of covering long distances between ice floes without rest. Arctic fox. Few animals on the planet can handle the cold the way this small creature can. The Arctic fox can survive temperatures as low as -50 degrees Celsius without shivering, thanks to a thick double-layered coat and a compact body shape that minimizes heat loss. Its fur changes color with the seasons, white in winter to blend with snow, and brown or gray in summer to match the tundra. It follows polar bears across the ice, feeding on leftover scraps from their kills. When food is scarce, it can travel enormous distances in search of something to eat. During the brief summer months, it stores extra food by burying it in the frozen ground for later. Arctic wolf. This is a subspecies of the gray wolf, and it has adapted remarkably well to one of the harshest environments on Earth. Arctic wolves live in small packs and roam vast territories across the high Arctic islands of Canada and Greenland. Unlike wolves in warmer regions, they rarely encounter humans, which means they tend to show far less fear around people. Their white coats provide excellent camouflage against the snow-covered landscape. They primarily hunt musk oxen and Arctic hares, often working together to isolate and exhaust their prey. During the long polar night, which can last for months, they continue hunting in complete darkness. Musk ox. It looks like something from a prehistoric era, and in many ways it is. Musk oxen have roamed Arctic tundra for hundreds of thousands of years, surviving ice ages that wiped out many other large mammals. They have a layered coat consisting of long outer guard hairs and an inner wool called kiviut, which is one of the warmest natural fibers in the world. When threatened by predators, musk oxen form a defensive circle with the adults facing outward and the young sheltered in the center. This strategy was highly effective against wolves and other natural predators, though it made them vulnerable to human hunters in the past. They feed on grasses, mosses, and roots found beneath the snow. Reindeer, known in North America as caribou. This animal has one of the most remarkable migration patterns of any land mammal. Some herds travel more than 5,000 kilometers in a single year, moving between winter feeding grounds and summer calving areas. Their hooves change with the season, soft and spongy in summer for grip on wet ground, and harder in winter to dig through snow and ice in search of lichen. Reindeer are the only deer species where both males and females grow antlers. They have been central to the survival and culture of indigenous Arctic peoples for thousands of years, providing food, clothing, tools, and transportation. Snowy owl. It is one of the most recognizable birds of the Arctic, with its striking white plumage and sharp golden eyes. Unlike most owls, snowy owls are active during the day, which makes sense in an environment where summer brings nearly continuous daylight. They nest directly on the ground since there are no trees in the tundra, and both parents guard the nest aggressively against any threat. Lemmings make up the core of their diet, and the owl's population closely follows lemming population cycles. In years when lemmings are scarce, snowy owls may travel far south in search of food, occasionally appearing in places that rarely see them. Their feathered feet act like natural snowshoes, keeping them warm even when standing on ice. Arctic hare. At first glance, it resembles a regular rabbit, but it is larger, faster, and far more adapted to frozen conditions. Arctic hares have shorter ears than most hares, which reduces heat loss, and their thick white winter coat is dense enough to keep them warm in severe blizzards. They use their strong claws to dig through snow to reach plants and roots buried beneath. Unlike most hares, which are solitary, Arctic hares sometimes gather in groups of hundreds or even thousands, which may help confuse predators. Their powerful hind legs allow them to reach speeds of 60 kilometers per hour when escaping danger. In summer, their fur shifts to brown or gray, blending seamlessly with the rocky tundra. Walrus. It is unmistakable, largely because of the long ivory tusks that both males and females carry throughout their lives. Walruses use these tusks to pull themselves out of the water onto ice, to establish dominance during mating season, and occasionally to defend against polar bears. They can weigh over 1,000 kilograms, and spend much of their time hauling out on ice floes in large social groups. A layer of blubber up to 15 centimeters thick keeps them insulated in frigid Arctic waters. They feed primarily on clams and other shellfish found on the ocean floor, using their sensitive whiskers to locate food in murky, dark water. A single walrus can consume thousands of clams in one feeding session. Narwhal. It is sometimes called the unicorn of the sea, and the comparison is easy to understand. The narwhal's long spiraling tusk is actually a tooth that grows through the upper lip and can extend up to 3 meters in length. For centuries, these tusks were sold in Europe as genuine unicorn horns and believed to have magical properties. Narwhals live in Arctic waters year-round, often gathering in groups beneath sea ice. Scientists believe the tusk may serve a sensory function, helping the animal detect changes in water temperature, pressure, and salinity. They feed on fish, squid, and shrimp at considerable depths, sometimes diving nearly 2 kilometers below the surface. Beluga whale. Completely white as adults, belugas are among the most vocal of all whale species, earning them the nickname canaries of the sea among early sailors. They live in Arctic and subarctic waters and are uniquely built for life around sea ice. Unlike most whales, belugas have a flexible neck, allowing them to turn their heads in ways other whales cannot. They use this flexibility to navigate through fragmented ice. Their forehead, called a melon, is unusually rounded and flexible, and it plays an important role in echolocation. Belugas are highly social and migrate in groups ranging from a few individuals to thousands during summer months, gathering in shallow river estuaries to feed and socialize. Lemming. Small and round with a compact body, this rodent plays a role in the Arctic ecosystem far larger than its size would suggest. Lemmings are a primary food source for nearly every major Arctic predator: snowy owls, Arctic foxes, wolves, and even polar bears during lean times. Their population rises and falls in cycles of roughly 3 to 4 years, and when their numbers crash, it sends ripple effects through the entire food web. They tunnel beneath the snow throughout winter, feeding on grasses and mosses in the relative warmth of the subnivean space just above the frozen ground. The idea that lemmings throw themselves off cliffs in mass suicide is a popular myth with no basis in reality. What actually happens is that during population peaks, large groups migrate in search of food and sometimes drown crossing rivers or fjords. Arctic tern. No animal on Earth travels farther than this small seabird. Each year, the Arctic tern migrates from its breeding grounds in the Arctic all the way to the Antarctic and back, a round trip of roughly 70,000 kilometers. It sees more daylight than any other creature on the planet because it follows the sun between the two polar regions. Despite its slender frame and delicate appearance, it is fiercely territorial around its nest and will dive-bomb humans, foxes, or any perceived threat without hesitation. It feeds by hovering above the water and plunging in to catch small fish. Over the course of its lifetime, which can span 30 years, an individual Arctic tern may travel the equivalent of 3 trips to the moon and back.